I'm Vicki Davis, Martin County Supervisor of Elections. Thank you for joining us for Project Vote History. Local residents reflect on cherished memories they have gained over the years regarding public service, the election process, and the importance of voting. Joining me today is Tom Kenny. Tom, you served as Martin County Commissioner within our county, but you ran at the age of 28 and for the first time, and then you were elected at the age of 36.
Correct.
Yeah. What caused you at that age to be so interested in running for office?
Well, remember, it was a different county back then. It was much smaller, and pretty much everybody knew everybody else.
That's true.
And I guess my memories of county commissioners were Frank Walker was a Little League coach. We lived in Hope Sound, and there was very few of us down there. And I remember at an early age, the county commissioner at the time, it was Jack Saunderson. He was a volunteer fire chief from Port Salerno, who was our county commissioner, followed Arnie Dykes, who had been a commissioner for a long time. And he brought us baseballs and a bat. And there was no other way we were going to have that equipment. And I said, man, county commissioner. Yeah, a little kid, but it made an impression. And you respected Bill Owens, Herb Bruner, Timer Powers, Doc Myers, those guys.
Absolutely.
And, it was a position that you would aspire to. I had been, evolved a little bit in politics. I was president of my senior class at Martin County High School, 1966, go Tigers. I'm a Bulldog fan. Now I got a bunch of kids out there now, grandkids, I should say.
You graduated with my sister-in-law.
There you go. Yeah.
Lily.
Yeah, we've known each other for quite some time, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So you've shared what prompted you to run for office, and you did follow in some great footsteps. Doc Myers represented Hope Sound for many years on the Board of County Commissioners. Then he went off to represent Martin County in both the House and the Senate.
Right.
But for yourself, what are some of the strongest memories that you have serving in office, being that public servant?
Serving in office, it was, I'd spent 8 years on what was the Planning and Zoning Board, which is now called the LPA. And that was the board that wrote the comprehensive plan, actually, in 1981, 82. Had a lot of exposure to the public because of that. But becoming a county commissioner, which, at that age I thought I knew everything, and probably did, but it was a totally different job, even though I'd been in the building almost every day, with the interaction with the public that you were given. They weren't afraid to come to your house. They weren't afraid to call you at any hour of the day.
True.
You were expected to know everything. And remember, back in those days, most of us worked full time. And we had exposure to the community and what was going on. I remember sitting in a movie theater with my wife once, and a guy tapping me on the shoulder and asking me about a zoning issue. It was
a small town.
Yeah, it was really incredible.
It was.
But I got to say that I was a bit condescending. I really did think I knew everything. And losing the election in 1988 probably grew me up and taught me more than anything in my life. And I really cherish that experience. I recommend it to some people, by the way. They should lose an election, and maybe it would help their attitude and look towards the world.
And that was a question that I had to ask you too, is how do you feel that serving, and maybe it was the losing when you ran, that helped change you?
Well, it certainly humbled me. It certainly gave me a better perspective, but it also gave me a look into politics, in that it's very difficult to be forward-thinking. A successful politician, I think, either creates an issue that he can solve or reacts to things. Our board was very aggressive moving forward. We got the Roosevelt Bridge 4-lane, we got the Palm City Bridge 4-lane. We actually implemented the comprehensive plan. We did the Hutchinson Island plan that reduced that all from condominiums to single-family housing out there. We did a lot of things very quickly. And when you do that many things, you're going to acquire some people that weren't in favor of that. And people tend to remember the 1 or 2 things you did that they didn't like, opposed to the 7 or 8 things you did that they did like. So, and one of the things we did, I guess I could take responsibility for it, I bought this building. And we were told that we could complete this building for $264,000 that was sitting in the escrow in the bank. So we bought it using cigarette tax. We didn't use property tax, but as it unfolded, we had some shenanigans going on, and one morning our administrator walked in and told us without any warning we were $1 million over budget. And I guess our reaction was fierce and quick, and he was no longer the administrator the next day. So that created quite a controversy, and that was right in the middle of the election.
Yes.
We had, they deregulated cable television. Before that, county commissions regulated the rates, and all of a sudden everybody's TV rate went up. So they naturally thought that was us too.
Sure, a lot of impactors.
Yeah. We put in mandatory garbage pickup. Before that, we had a tremendous trash problem where people would, you know, the garbage man wouldn't come into their house, they'd just take the trash to some dirt road and the county would end up picking it up. So once we went into mandatory garbage collection, it made a tremendous difference in the county.
Well, you've certainly made a
lot of things that people would never think of.
Correct.
You know, everybody wants to talk about the comp plan, but there's a lot of other things going on in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you've been very influential in getting young people involved in the election process, making sure that they're registered to vote and actually take that next step and get out and vote. How would you encourage young people today to register to vote? Somehow we've got to reach them and teach them and make them understand and accept that this is their county, this is their future. We've had our time. You know, it's time for them to step up and own their government and own their community. I think they kind of feel like they've been kind of left aside, and really that's a result of who votes and who's voting. And remember, when I ran, it was a much younger county. We're one of the older counties in the state now, if not the country. And the voters that vote, which are the people that are important to elected officials, because that's how they get to stay in office, are older, and they're mostly retired, and they're from somewhere else. But I don't think that's a good excuse to leave the 30s and the 40s and even the 20s behind. Of course. I mean, we got to get them involved. Absolutely. Voting is essential to our whole way of life in America. You've made it so easy to vote that it should be a crime not to vote. I mean, you can vote from home, you can vote early, you can write a letter, whatever. Write a letter to request to vote by mail, yes. Yes, well, I certainly appreciate all that you've done, Tom, and thanks for taking your time to join us today. Well, it was a pleasure, Vicki. Likewise. Good to see you. Likewise. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. I'm Vicki Davis. Thanks for joining us for an episode of Project Vote History.